What do you miss the most from the 90s/2000s? Story 1. Maybe this was just because I was a kid, but I felt like Democrats and Republicans were things that politicians were, not normal everyday citizens. Sure, you voted for this party or that, but it seemed like being a party member was something that only elected representatives were. Nowadays, you are either a liberal or a conservative, and there are blatant social cues that signal which of the two sides you're aligned with. Everything from the kind of music you listen to the kind of car you drive. Everything has to be political. Everything has to be partisan. You don't vote for Democrats or Republicans, you are a Democrat or a Republican, and it influences everything from where you live to what kind of job you do to who you associate with. I remember politics being something that politicians did. I don't remember every aspect of daily life being so political before cable news and social media. Story 2. There was a general sense of optimism in society at large. We all genuinely believed we would graduate from school and work hard and be rewarded with a fulfilling life, free from financial worries. IDK, maybe it was youthful ignorance, but it really did feel like the world was our oyster. Now, everyone is just so angry. Story 3. I overheard a middle school student talking about an upcoming school dance, and when asked if she's going to get on the dance floor, she said, "God no, people film you and make fun of you if you dance." That broke my heart, all of the things young people are missing out on because they now have to worry about being recorded. Story 4. The simplicity. There really wasn't any smartphones. Internet was still fairly new. You had to be sociable. We would actually hang out with friends, go camping, ride bikes, sleepovers, whatever your little heart desired. Now it's nothing but looking for validation from people who will never know you or even care about you by farming for likes and shares. Social media has ruined humanity, and I will die on that hill. Story 5. I also remember liking the fashion of that era. I had this pretty purple top with long bell sleeves, made me feel like Ella Enchanted. And I had purple suede boots, which I wore everywhere. I remember roll-on glitter perfume, glitter tattoos, limited 2 sequins tops, and crochet ponchos. Clothing that was just very colorful and very girly. Made me feel like a total girl. Story 6. From the 90s? US perspective, the feeling of hope and moving into a new collaborative global world. It wasn't all unicorns and rainbows, but it felt like we were getting closer to a global kumbaya situation. I really miss the optimism and togetherness. We were progressing as a global society. 2000s was the reality check decade, and 2010s just built on that fear and division. I think that's why Obama had a great initial campaign. He was running on that 90s sentiment. Story 7. Group phone calls after school. Be by your phone at 4:30. Someone would have to hang up for someone needing the internet and have to hang up, dropping the caller they added. We'd have to do roll call, LOL. Also, AIM, Game Boy, passing notes, or notebooks, Winky Face, Lisa Frank was everywhere, Nickelodeon, cheesy but memorable Disney movies, etc. 90s kids were the last generation to grow up during the transition into the internet. Our patience was stronger then. For how long we waited for one image to load after asking Jeeves. Story 8. I was a young kid in the 2000s, so I guess watching more innocent, slow-paced kids' movies and shows. Like Barbie as a princess, dancing ballet to classical music. Or shows like Between the Lions or Mr. Rogers. Lots of children's media today is so incredibly chaotic and fast-paced. If I were a kid today, it'd make me anxious, LOL. Story 9. The lack of political shit everywhere. If you were hitting your teens in the late 90s, you got to enjoy a time where life felt free, possibilities felt endless, and the world was such a carefree place. People had a goddamn sense of humor, and being offended as an occupation was totally not a thing. Even after September 11th, when things got legitimately political for the first time I can remember, people were more together than they ever were. I was 16 in 2001 and remember that time as a really good example of what America looks like when race stopped mattering to us as a whole. The floods of New Orleans was another. Everyone was just American during those days. Somewhere along the line, Everyone forgot about all that and people hate others for not conforming to their political affiliations. That was so not a thing I saw growing up, not at any point. I'm thoroughly disgusted by the constant preoccupation with being an activist these days because that's not the world I came of age in. Story 10. Lack of options for entertainment. I never imagined I would say something like that, but I feel we were more connected back then. We were mostly all watching the same things, conversing on the same subjects, and we got bored, so we visited friends and family just to hang out. Story 11. Feeling relatively safe. Yeah, shit went down. But riding my bike literal miles away from my home at age 9 and coming home when the street lights came on. No influencers, no social media, no constant communication via cell phones, feeling unreachable, easily getting lost in the wilderness on trails, in a good way, i.e. not running into a bunch of people, conversations with strangers, and really life being affordable. Story 12. If we're being honest, this is what everybody subconsciously means when they say, I miss the past. This is the true answer. You don't miss the past. You miss being young and all the perks that came with it, less responsibility, lower stakes, less worry, everything is new, etc. I don't miss Blockbuster per se, I miss being young while going to Blockbuster. Etc. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more awesome content. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for your support, and let's get back to the stories. Story 13. A lot of things. People minding their own business, not being so self-obsessed. Basically, I guess I miss the pre-social media era. I genuinely think it's a curse upon mankind at this point. It's devastating our communities and we allow it to do so. People don't know their neighbors anymore. There's no more stuff like a 4th of July block party or a bake sale / potluck fundraiser, etc. People don't randomly stop by to say hello and catch up. Families don't eat together at the kitchen table and talk about their day. Kids want to grow up to be social media influencers or a YouTube streamer rather than be of service to the public or learn a skilled trade. People don't care about one another like they used to. Now it seems they all just avoid one another and they'll ignore each other in passing at the grocery store just to go home later and throw shade via Facebook. I'm not a religious person, at all. I could probably be described as agnostic at best, but mostly I'm just a heavy skeptic. But lately I've found myself considering finding a church. The older I get, the more I start to see that maybe church has some things to offer after all. Good things. And I don't necessarily have to drink the Kool-Aid to get its benefits. Community is an important aspect of living a happy life, and it seems to be mostly ignored in today's day and age. The community is online now, but online is not the real world and we need physical contact and face-to-face interaction. Humans are social creatures by nature. Anyways, just some food for thought. Story 14. Passing letters / notes between class with your crush in high school. Kids today will never know there was an actual art to folding your letters. There was nothing more satisfyingly than sitting down in class and reading a long letter from your crush. Story 15. I think society is starting to push back finally. Pendulum feels as though it has started swinging back in the other direction, but I miss how jokes could be jokes and the sensitivity police weren't there to suck the humor out of life. Laughter is the best medicine. Also, I miss that there wasn't social media. Now we are all addicted to it, myself included. Story 16. How everything wasn't woke. How we could laugh at our differences. Everyone just wanted to have fun and not stare at a little screen all day. New music genres were being invented, not just rehashed and regurgitated. Movies were original and not spin-offs and sequels. We all had better attitudes and didn't give a crap about a friend's political ideologies. Things moved at a more reasonable pace, and deadline expectations were more realistic. God, I miss those decades. Story 17. Electronic gadgets. There used to be video cameras, digital still cameras, portable cassette players and CD players, music on physical media, neat portable radios, calculators of all kinds with all sorts of functions, portable MP3 players, CD-ROM writers, zip drives, mice with 2 scroll wheels, Microsoft trackball explorers. Man, now it's all in a phone. Mall stores really don't have jack for gadget things anymore. I used to love shopping around for neat electronic gadgets. They don't exist anymore. I'm only griping about this because I recently had to kill a few hours and tried to kill them in a shopping mall. There were 3 AE stores, 3 Lids, 3 Oakley, and 3 Sunglass Huts in the same mall. While I miss the late 90s and its quirky shit, I'll not trade my phone in for it. I just want to shop for the junk. Story 18. Definitely holidays, October, February. Just felt there was more decorations, spirit, and you could feel the love in the air. New generation has a completely different attitude. More of a just buy me my shit, I know Santa doesn't exist. Or why go dress up and get candy, I can just go to the store and get it. Personally, as a kid, once September rolled around, I knew it was gonna be an awesome next couple months. Story 19. For Christmas '96 I got a Nintendo 64. In 2002 I got a GameCube. I missed the simplicity of gaming. You put a cartridge/disc in, load up the machine and play. Didn't need an account anywhere, didn't need to download the game first, no internet gaming, if you wanted multiplayer you all had to be in the same room, etc. Just good fun. Gaming has become a serious business these days and a lot of games just don't feel fun anymore. Story 20. Going to concerts or just listening to live music at a small venue, club, or bar. Sad face. I did mostly small venue gigs after 2000, but they were more enjoyable than the arena-sized ones. Different genre of music too as my music tastes matured. Very casual and intimate settings, cover charge of 2 beers to get in, and just a few feet away from stage. Story 21. Video rental stores. In-person shopping being better. Seeing new movies in theaters. Which, on that note, new, good movies that weren't all redos or lame pumped-out action/rom-coms. The kind of naivety/innocence because we weren't as connected to everyone and everything. Things like public pools and roller rinks and community stuff being entertainment for families and kids, people seem much more isolated from the communities they live in now. Color, why is everything so sad and grayish now? Even McDonald's has gone blah modern in its aesthetic. Story 22. Snow. I hate driving in it now, but as a kid I absolutely loved it, and we would get so much more and it stuck around longer. One of my favorite memories is waking up just a couple days before Christmas at my grandparents' house and seeing a good 4 inches of snow covering everything. Now all we get here, I now live maybe 5 minutes away from where that used to live, is a dusting in single-digit temperatures. Temperatures that alternate between snot. Story 23. Toys R Us and all the various toy stores. I suppose I partially just miss childhood, but I remember when I used to be so excited to go to a toy store. Nowadays, the majority of kids' products are digital, and while I love video games, even those have mostly moved away from physical media. I miss buying a new Game Boy game and reading the manual on the drive home. I miss going to the store to buy a cool yo-yo, or a new rocket, or something like that. Coming out of a toy store or even Walmart pushing a shopping cart full of some new toy was just a magical experience. Story 24. Spending hours outside wandering the neighborhood. Cartoon VHS tapes. Sneaking into the living room to watch Adult Swim when everyone else was asleep. Going for walks with my friends, or going to the mall, or going to Hollywood Video and a pizza place afterwards so we could spend all night watching and eating and talking. Riding our bikes to different parks until it grew dark. Reinventing board game rules. Watching football with my dad and brother during Thanksgiving. And my creativity. Not feeling judged for it, or worried that it was unoriginal, or getting bogged down by so many other worries and insecurities that I'd lose all motivation. Story 25. I miss the excitement of getting home after school and catching the latest episode of my favorite TV show. There was something magical about that rush, knowing everyone would be talking about it the next day. No spoilers, just pure anticipation. Story 26. The time when my friends would all come over and we'd play in the forest all day, make up our own worlds and roleplay. Or, if it has to be specific to the aughts, the era of the Nintendo DS/DS Lite is golden in my memories. Almost all my friends had one, we'd meet up and play together in multiplayer, which felt like witchcraft. Pokemon Gen 3 to 4, the old Mario games. So many happy memories. Story 27. My old street home. We had about 12 kids in the street, and this was only the early 2000s, but none of us had phones. We would literally go door to door and scream out to come play outside, and we would play footy on the road, tips, hide and go seek, 44 home. Man, those were the days I'll forever cherish. All in the moment without being glued to social media. I don't ever see streets like this where 12 kids are outside playing together. Story 28. Likely been said or in a way tied into what others have said, but I miss the early internet before it became all corporatized and essentially turned into a handful of aggregate sites/social. I miss the creativity people showed just to share it, rather than try to find a way to capitalize on it. I'm not saying quality content doesn't exist anymore, nor that there aren't a lot of talented people making things now on various platforms. Many of the people doing it wouldn't even know where to begin, but it's very easy now to make content to be shared with the world, so it opens it up to near anyone. That's great in its own way, but maybe I miss the nicheness of the internet and even computers in general. Story 29. Apathy. You might think that apathy is well and alive, but what we are experiencing isn't apathy, it's manufactured and reinforced existential dread built to beat people down by saying they must be overloaded by worry. What existed in the 90s was a society that, while it had worries and dread, wasn't fueled by it. People just didn't care as much about what anyone in particular was doing as long as the thing that would be a bother didn't intersect with their life. You still had bigotry, but it was more that everyone was content not thinking about whatever it is that could be an issue with them. They were apathetic to you being anything other than a person so long as you didn't force yourself into their bubble. And even then, they would tolerate you for as long as they were required to because, while apathetic, most people with an issue understood that times had changed and people didn't want bigots around them. Again, it wasn't across the board or a perfect existence, but people were ending up more tolerant even if it was only surface deep. I miss it. I miss people not caring who I was or who I wanted to date. Obviously some people did, but they no longer went out of their way to either be mad about it or talk about how great it was and how it is a big deal. People were just apathetic about it and most other things, and the only people who were a bother were both the religious right and, oddly, the yuppie liberals who both seemed focused on being uppity weirdos. Mostly like how it is today, but with social media, everyone's being weirdos and it's annoying. Story 30. From 90, father, Cartoon Network, childhood and brilliant brain function that had as a child, and high school from 2000, or almost everything. I would like go back, stuck, and never come in present time realm. I don't like change. I think we lived better at end of last century, and I'm almost certain that things gonna go only worst for me and for majority of humans. And also, I was extremely optimistic back then. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe.